Hey guys, this is Becky Timon, and this is my presentation on how Bangladesh has been doing since they became independent from Pakistan. So 1971 was their independence, and since then they really were facing an uphill battle. They had tons of shortages of food, medical supplies. They didn't have a lot of experienced leaders. Their entire infrastructure was crippled and recovering from the war. Mujib, the father of the nation, he led the country during this time and was officially put as prime minister in 1972. He faced a lot of issues. One was the Razakars, which is basically a paramilitary group that supported Pakistani cause. They caused a lot of unrest. Under all of this pressure, Mujib ended up creating a dictatorship of the government. So corruption was very rampant at the time. There were military coups that shifted the power back and forth through the late 70s and into the early 80s. Hussein Ershad took over in 1982, and he basically suspended the nation's constitution and the political parties at this time. Some countries, they basically called Bangladesh the most corrupt government in the world at this time. Later, Khalida Zia took over in 1991. There was controversy surrounding her leadership, but she was responsible for a lot of advancements of the country's economic and educational reform, and it was during her leadership that the parliamentary system was restored back to the country. Accusations of corruption over Bangladesh's government continued into the 2000s, but about 2006, their country started to make a lot of improvements. As you can see, the population of the country is about 161.5 million people. It's the 8th most populated country in the world. So to give you some perspective, geographically, Bangladesh is the size of Florida, and Florida only has about 18.8 million people. Now, as you can see, their growth rate is dropping. So in the 70s, it was much higher, but it is going down. And a lot of people kind of attribute that to education, and specifically the investments that Bangladesh has made in female education. So they've had more access to secondary and primary schools. There's a lot of stipends that were introduced into the country that basically provided financial support to parents that would agree to keep their daughters in high school as long as possible. So that's really helped a lot. And then as you can see, their enrollment rate in 2008 was over 97%, and that was just for primary school. It was also over about 62% at the secondary level. Another attribute to improving has been their infrastructure and their economy. So in 2018, Bangladesh fulfilled all 3 eligibility criteria for graduation from UN's least developed country list. So that goes over things like income, human assets, and economic vulnerability. And it includes things like the GDP, which, as you can see here, has been increasing pretty rapidly since 2006, about 6.5% growth a year just in the last decade. And as a tidbit for you guys, about 30% of their GDP comes from agriculture, so you can see how important that is to their country. Let's go. This is the Social Project Progress Index, which is a measurement of about 51 different social and environmental indicators, things like basic human needs, foundations of well-being, and opportunity. And of all the countries on this list, Bangladesh is listed 108. And as you can see, Pakistan is 125. So I thought it was interesting that they're quite a bit above Pakistan at this time. All right. So for the future of Bangladesh is pretty bright. They have a lot of challenges to overcome, true, but the UN considers Bangladesh an inspiration of development. And although the country faces a lot of vulnerabilities that need to be faced, I think there's a lot of promise for continuing this upward curve of improvements. They have long-term planning committees in place that are dedicated to addressing these needs and support of strong international relations. They have a partnership with the World Bank since 2016, which has been helping them to achieve a middle income status by the country's 50th birthday, which is next year. And on the right, you can see where about $30 billion worth of grants have been focused on for the country. Here is my list of references. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you want some interesting extras, go to socialprogress.org. It has all countries on there, so you can search your own country and kind of see how it stacks up against others and where it could improve. Thank you.